The COPE committee convened yesterday to look into the controversial bond issue at the central bank. Officers of the central bank were also summoned for this meeting.
24th of February 2015. The Public Debt Department decides to call for a bond issue of 1 billion rupees for a period of 30 years. 26th February 2015. Urgent meeting with the participation of Ministers Ravi Karunanayaka, Kabir Hashim, Governor of the Central Bank Arjun Mahendran and other officials regarding the additional financial requirement for the payment of highway contractors. Incidentally, the chairman of the United National Party, Malik Samarvikrama, who was not an MP nor a minister, was present at this meeting. 27th February 2015. The first bond transaction after the appointment of the new governor takes place. 8th March 2015. Details of the controversial CBSL bond issue comes to light. 9th March 2015. President intervenes and orders that a committee be appointed to inquire into alleged losses caused by the February 27th bond issue. March 10th, 2015. A three-member committee appointed by the Prime Minister, names of Gamini Pitimina, Mahesh Kalugampitiya and Chandimal Mendis, announced as committee members, all of whom have strong affiliations with the UNP. On the very same day, Newsfirst exposed the ownership of perpetual treasuries by Perpetual Holdings, of which Arjun Aloysius, who is the son-in-law of the governor of the central bank, Arjun Mahendran, is a significant shareholder. 11th March 2015. On the very next day, opposition lodges complaint at the Bribery Commission seeking investigations into the alleged bond scam. 13th March 2015. UNP Chairman Malik Samarvikrama confirms he was present at the meeting held on the 26th of February to discuss state funding requirements. He tells Newsfirst he attended the meeting as an advisor to the Prime Minister. 16th March 2015. The Governor of the Central Bank accepts failure to communicate to primary dealers the Central Bank's intention to raise more funds through the bond issue.
I will take responsibility for the fact that we should have advertised 10 billion, but we didn't have that information in time.
17th March 2015. Prime Minister makes statement in Parliament on alleged bond scam. Announces that Arjuna Mahendran is on leave. 18th March 2015. Opposition stages protest opposite CBSL, demanding that investigations be expedited. 29th March 2016. A year after the first bond scam was reported, another controversial bond issue takes place. 6 June 2016. Committee on Public Enterprise informs the Auditor General to carry out investigations regarding the matter. 19 June 2016. Prime Minister informs that Arjun Mahendran will not be reappointed until investigations into him are completed by COPE. 20th June 2016. Former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce exposes the loss made in the second bond transaction to the public.
This time we are working on leaked information. We don't have a formal thing. Based on the leaked information, we believe that of this issue that was made on the 29th, the primary dealer in question got 26 billion, as he said. And the important thing is EPF got only 2.5.
Who is this primary dealer, Mr.
Perpetual treasuries. Okay, say 14.7%, let us say, was 13.7, let us say, or 14.7 in some cases, that the perpetual treasuries got. If they kept a 1% margin and sold those bonds back to EPF, on that basis, we are assuming EPF or ETF or to the insurance corporation, any one of the state, NSB or Bank of Ceylon or anybody like that, if they sold, just 1% amounts to 2.7 billion.
Thank you very much.
Important.
24 June 2016. Governor Arjun Mahendran holds meeting at Central Bank, meets all deputy governors and says that he will be on leave until investigations are completed. 29th June 2016. President says a new governor will be appointed. President arrives at the central bank to hold a critical meeting the same evening. 30th June 2016. President appoints Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy as new governor of the central bank. 4th July. New governor of the central bank takes oaths before President Maithripala Sirisena, promising to uphold the integrity of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is one of the great institutions in this country. And I'm acutely aware that a primary responsibility, arguably the primary responsibility of the governor, is to uphold its reputation and credibility. And I can assure you that I will do my utmost to do so at all times. When I met the president, he just told me one thing. He said, do your work in a straight way and do not fear anybody in discharging your duties. Now my intention is to follow his direction and to carry out my functions according to his wishes. When I met the Honorable Prime Minister, he laid out his vision for where he wants to take this country. And there is a big role for the central bank. And in many ways, if we are not able to fulfill our functions in the way it should be fulfilled, in terms of creating a platform for macroeconomic stability with strong macroeconomic fundamentals, having financial sector stability so there is confidence right through the system, nothing else is possible. A captain is only as good as his team. However smart or clever the captain is, unless his team has talent and there's teamwork, it's not going to work. Talent alone is not enough. We need to be absolutely together for that talent to bear fruit, to contribute to the development of this country. We need to work as one. We need to have common objectives.
හරියටම මේ බැඳුම් කර වැසීමට නියමිතව තියෙන්නේ උදේ 11ට. පෙබරවාරි මාසයේ 27 වෙනිදා උදේ 11ට. 10:45ට.
The accepting of tenders was supposed to close at 11 a.m. on the 27th of February. At 10:45, the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjun Mahendran, comes to the trading floor. He remains there until the trading closes. At 10:48, the Bank of Ceylon makes a phone call requesting for an extension of 10 minutes for them to place their tenders for the bonds. This is an extraordinary incident. There is only one reason to extend the time of closing a tender with regard to the bonds, and this is only when there is an issue with the telecommunications system. Until now, an extension was never done based on the request of a dealer. However, on that day, the request was facilitated. Thereafter, the Bank of Ceylon presented a tender on behalf of Perpetual Traders, the company which is owned by Arjun Aloysius, the son-in-law of Arjun Mahendran. As the company was among the traders, the BOC presented a bid of 13 billion on behalf of that company. The request was only for 1 billion, and bids were made for 13 billion after the deadline by a state bank.
හොඳට අපිට දැන් මෙතෙන්දි කාරණාවක් එනවා 1 බිලියනයටයි ඉල්ලුම් කරන්නේ බිලියන 13කට ඉල්ලීම් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා වෙලාවෙනුත් පස්සේ.
Rumor has it that the EPF representative had fallen asleep on that day. How far is this?
Rumors say not only one day he fell asleep, one day he was sick and therefore he couldn't put any bids in. These are rumors, but let's forget the rumors. The figures speak for themselves. If the figures are right,
No bids whatsoever on the 29th of March.
on which he gets on the 31st.
31st.
On the other, it's only 2.5 versus 26 billion from the other.
In an article published today on the island with the heading Mahendran ignored public debt department warnings, went ahead with bond sales. Officials tell COPE. It was highlighted, quoting a senior member of COPE. A group of central bank officials yesterday had informed the Committee on Public Enterprises that Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran had claimed he acted on the instructions of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe with regard to the controversial bond issue. The article goes on to note that the UNP members of the COPE had sought to exonerate Mahendran and to shift the blame to the officials, and the UNP MPs had maintained that the top officials too should be held responsible for the massive loss caused by the bond deal because they had cooperated with Mahendran. Quoting another member of COPE, the island reports that the UNP MP's attempt to absolve Mahendran of the responsibility for the controversial bond auction on the grounds that it had been consequent to a policy decision by the government was countered by the opposition MPs with the help of presentations made by the CB officials. The central bank officials had said that the officials insisted there had been no such policy decision because the monetary board had not given approval for Mahendran's action with regard to the bond deal. However, the CB officials had responded that Mahendran had proceeded with the controversial bond sales in spite of the severe warnings from the Public Debt Department of the central bank. The officials had said that the governor had informed the monetary board of his move only after he had conducted the auction.
Mr. Rispada, I think the time is opportune for us to acknowledge the superb independence and the integrity and the probity of the officials at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, who have quietly taken all the blows, and none of them succumbed to the blows. But they waited and they chose their time, and especially the Deputy Governor, who spoke with such clarity at COPE yesterday, as reported in paper. We really owe him a big thank you for upholding the integrity and the sanctity of the office or the institution known as the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.